Hello and welcome to another after show, this time for episode 2 of Iron Coke and Conscience, our Locus demo play miniseries. Alright, yeah, it's been another interesting opening episode to our mystery, personal horror mystery TTRPG. We were just having a conversation about the difficulties associated with running a mystery game, on top of making it particularly interesting as a story piece for an audience. So I would love to hear your own comments, since you are here supporting the show. I'd love to hear what you have to say, so feel free to drop a comment or come hang out on Discord. But anyway, let's talk to these lovely people, because much of this game, very player-driven, very character-focused, and I know I attempted to drop some nice hints along the way of the things that are going on, what might be important, and messing and poking and prodding with each of you a little bit. So I want to see how well that stuck. So let's open this up. I know we don't have terribly long. Yeah, where do you guys think that this is going? Actually, I think end of the second episode. This is good time to do some projection.
Nowhere good.
Bad. We are in the bad place, and it will get badder.
Well,
It gets badder.
now I can't stop thinking, inserting Chad in the Jason Mendoza, "Oh, this is the bad place" clip. Damn. There's still so much to explore with what you've given us. Like, there are obviously hints of some of what's going on, but I feel like it's really tough to nail down exactly what will come of it. I also am not convinced we're gonna make it all the way through before tearing each other apart.
Yeah. That was little insider hint here. That is a big driving focus in the narrative that I'm writing. Of course, as we said, there's only so much we can structure as a mystery. But I know from my own narrative writing standpoint, I have very specifically put different events and waypoints of poking each of you in very specific ways to get you pushed together, pulled apart, working against each other, working with each other. So we've seen a few interesting things. I think I hinted at just about everyone today. I know I was given Chad some difficulty today, locked him in a train car, and made a few other references to, well, it looked like Laura messing with you guys. You know, just out the corner of your vision, but
Fucking Laura.
And it's not out of character, but again, what does she stand to gain by doing it right now?
yeah.
That's fair.
That's totally fair.
We saw another appearance of Roman's ex, which seemed keen on instigating a conversation between the bros.
She's just mad I didn't give her a discount.
How did you guys feel about that?
I really liked that.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I thought the exchange went really well. I have to take a second, JD, to give you flowers here for this. This was just perfect. The timing, the way that because Roman controlled the conversation, right? Like, that was what happened. But it was perfect. It was so good. I loved it.
My favorite line was, "I didn't tell you to sell to Jennifer," and it's like, he's a drug dealer, like, but genuinely, not only is Roman that kind of person, but their relationship is such that, like, I didn't tell you to do this, you shouldn't have done it, was, I really liked that sentiment. I thought that was very revealing.
I have definitely been here trying to drop those little hints of who Roman is under the surface, that he's not just a spoiled child. Like, he is also malicious and controlling.
I love it, and I think it's been coming through so well. I like I really enjoyed the response of well, you didn't have to tell me to, bro. I got you. Everything Chad does and sees is just already so rose tinted that he can't possibly fathom that conversation didn't go well. Which and I thought Roman also like handled that portion of it so well. It was great. There has definitely been a lot of seeing more of Roman in this episode for who he is. I've also been dropping a couple of things here and there, subtle in their not so subtlety for Chad, because I think for Chad, I feel like it's kind of complex, right? Where his nature is that such that, and I don't want to spoil anything, but his nature is such that so much of him just inherently comes off as being a good person. He's got your back. He cares about you. He loves you. He'll do whatever it takes to make sure everyone's happy and safe. And that's his thing. And so it's really exciting. Whatever it takes. And so it's really exciting to me watching these small moments where we get to see the cracks and the small moments that are inevitably going to build up to something more. And I think I know last time we said that Chad is the worst of them. I also think Chad's the one who's going to break the hardest of the three of them. And I felt like that was super reinforced by that conversation.
I feel like that makes sense. I have a hard time envisioning Laura breaking and what.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Because it's not gonna go great. Because and like Laura's constantly calculating. Like when Laura breaks, it will be on purpose because it is the moment where these two are no longer useful to her. And so far Chad is useful, but she's watching very closely. We talked about this after the show because she is aware he's not always going to be useful. And what are we going to do when his usefulness runs out? Because he is also big.
Old.
Yeah. A chat line I really liked too when you two were having the conversation about Jennifer. It was like, no, we weren't friends anymore, so why would I let her visit the pharmacy for free? I was just like, oh, that's also kind of very revealing of Chad, where it's like he looks after his own, but once he decides you're not his anymore, well, that's a different story, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought that was actually it might be something that Chad and Laura have in common. Is just like there comes a point where they're like, no, actually, fuck you. And for Chad, it's when you're no longer his. And for Laura, it's when you're no longer useful.
A slight addendum I would make to that is, I think I feel like for Laura, it's when you're no longer hers. And for Chad, it's when you're no longer us.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because for Laura, it's that manipulation that you're a tool and I will use you wherever I need to. And for Chad, it's we are a tribe. This is our tribe. And I will do anything for our tribe. Once you leave the tribe, I don't give a fuck about you anymore. You mean nothing. And yeah.
And now you are a tribe of 3. With a wedge that seems intent on pushing further and further in.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be really interesting. I mean, because from my perspective, for both Roman and Laura, there's so much in common, because ultimately the way to like get them is that loss of control, right? Like for both of them, it feels like that's the big Achilles heel, is the inability to be in control of a situation. For Roman, like noticeably in control, and for Laura, the inverse, right? Not wanting to come off as being in control, but being in control. And I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating watching as, again, for Roman, that control visually clearly slips away and how that, like, sends him spiraling. And then for Laura, how she has to now contend with that extra layer of not letting it be known that her control that no one knows she has is slipping away. And they're just going to be so fascinating to watch.
I'm really excited for our first combat.
Yes.
Because I think what's going to happen to these people with their backs against the wall? Is Laura just going to drop the mask because survival is more important in this moment? What is
Chad's
that
just
going
gonna
to do?
die. That's what's gonna happen. Chad's just gonna die.
So that is...
Is Roman going to discover some power of his own?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, because I do feel like, at least in this given moment, if Roman realizes he is that far out of control of a situation, if talking isn't going to work, and violence is the only option, I think flight is his only option at that point.
Agree.
I think
Yep.
he's not going to be like, yes, I can protect myself. I think he's going to be like, what do I need to do to get the fuck out of here?
Oh my
Yep.
god. Okay, I
100%.
know I said last episode that we were gaslight gatekeep girl boss, but now we're fight, flight, and fawn.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's gonna be really interesting if we get into that situation, because Chad obviously will just step up and be like, let's go. And then if Roman is like, nope, and leaves, it's gonna be absolutely fascinating to watch. If Roman is still willing to play this game and try and convince Chad that everything's fine, how to do so.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about that, because Chad, like I said, Chad's gonna break hard when he breaks, and that heartbreak is gonna be rough on top of any other form of being broken, which I'm sure will also happen.
Yeah, we
Honestly,
haven't
I'm
seen...
also interested in when Chad breaks, because of the different ways that Roman and Laura exert control, because it's basically going to become a tug of war between them without Chad in the mix.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he's inherently just the regulator between them, which is great. He bonds them through being the useful idiot.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. Laura doesn't know why, and we don't have to talk about why right now, but Laura does know that right now, if called on to make a choice, he's choosing Roman.
Oh, 100%. I don't think that's even like a question. Yeah.
Partially because she rolls with frat boys. She knows they cover each other. She knows what kind of creatures they are. So it's like right now, if this comes to a head, I lose.
Yeah. Well,
So we
part of
keep
that...
playing until I win. Like,
Yeah. A part of that is also, it's almost by design, right? Because with Laura, there's that clear, like, recognition of being at arm's reach. Right? Like, that exists. Roman and Chad go into the room. Roman and Chad have this conversation. Roman and Chad are walking side by side. There is this purposeful distance in how they communicate and exist in the same space. So yeah, it's very, very easy for Chad to be like, if I have to pick, I pick Roman.
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
But
We all know it, and that's...
I'm really excited for when we have all inevitably turned on each other. Because, and I won't get into too much detail, but I do think that it's just going to be fascinating watching how their interactions with Chad are after that moment, and then being able to go back and compare it to how they've interacted with Chad up until that point, like in these two episodes. I'm so fascinated with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't even had to ask you guys questions or direct the conversation. You guys are, bringing up almost verbatim so much of the things I already have in my story notes for important beats. So I'm very interested to see how you guys portray those, knowing that we're on a very similar page as to character development, if we even want to call it development. Going forward, disintegration might be a more appropriate term. All right. Well, we have a few minutes left. Let me ask you guys one more question, and you guys covered a lot of great character moments today. So what is a moment that really stood out for your particular character today? Not as a player, but your character. What really stood out this episode?
I mean, related to what we were just talking about, Laura heard the boys argue.
Mm-hmm.
So that has factored very much into her calculations.
Mm-hmm.
Because now maybe Laura doesn't lose if Chad has to make a choice. If she times it right.
Yep.
It's alright, yeah.
I mean, obviously for Roman, the necklace is a huge piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now he's really feeling his attention pulled between processing what he knows in terms of what Chandler shared with him about the necklace and wrestling with that and the fact that Chandler did something Roman did not ask him to do and that he is not okay with, since it was in some way interfering in his business. And then speaking of business, everything he is finding out about Arcadia Incorporated and their relationship to Jolston and the layers upon layers of tragedy, which I'm still getting a sense for exactly how Roman feels about that.
Yeah. I will say that it was interesting, your choice of words or lack thereof when talking to Sheriff, because you certainly did not divulge very much information in that conversation.
Yeah,
Which
fucked that up for you, by the way.
Yeah.
Very close.
which of course very much directed the conversation. Also, kudos to both of you for role-playing that moment so well, with the locket and the fanny pack and all of that, because I didn't get any input from either of you for that interaction. I just wrote down he finds Jennifer's locket. Lion didn't say he had it. JD, you didn't say that was something that came up. I'm just like, nope, it's in there. So thank you guys so much for just rolling with it and making it awesome.
I mean, you gave us something to work with. We're gonna make it work.
All right. But Lion, yeah, what really stood out for Chad?
Ooh. I mean, Chad. I think the real standout moment for Chad here is there was a moment of realization today for him in dealing with both of them, but primarily Laura, where it's like, there are ghosts. Why are we not freaking the fuck out?
Yeah.
And they're like, because we have shit to do, and that's more important than ghosts. It's like, reality is broken, and y'all are like, this is fine. And I think that's a moment that won't be as obvious to Chad what that means right now, but will be the cornerstone later on. It'll be that moment that is thought back on where everything clicks. And it's definitely something he's filed away in the very small filing cabinet he's got up there. It's not, but it's one of those things where it's like, there are smoke people walking around. You see them and are going, it's fine. Don't panic. Just relax. It's fine. The furnace shot a fireball. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah,
shit happens. Don't hit it. Yeah. It's like, just that is gonna be the crux of the realization for him later. I think that's what really stands out.
I think because like both Laura and Roman are just like, freaking out is not useful.
My father taught me not to panic. I'm not going to panic. I have to be in control.
Exactly. Yep. And yeah, you're right. I think when Chad learns that these are both sociopaths, like
of course they are. Look at that. Yeah, exactly. The need for control is so deep that it doesn't matter that the laws of reality are no longer the same, or that there are spooky smoke fellas walking around. It makes no difference.
Which is
that's not
so excited for combat.
We will see how that goes, knowing that this is a Locus game.
Yeah, combat is not the answer.
No, but I mean, like, for us to face a monster.
Oh, it's gonna be such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be such a big deal. And
Turning
for
point
Roman
for
and Laura,
sure.
Like, how do I get out of this alive?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the dogs, there was something weird about them, but they're more or less mundane
dogs.
creatures you see every day. Yeah, they're dogs. The ghosts are weird. Chad definitely saw more of them than the other two did. But yet, ghosts, they weren't really doing anything menacing. And you've seen some weird stuff, but you have not actually seen a proper Locus monster yet.
Yeah, when that, like, 3-headed steel, like, lizard sheep comes fucking charging at us.
I have some interesting ones, and I will leave that to a different after show, perhaps
Exciting.
when we start introducing some of them, because I know we are at time for today, and I have to let you lovely people get on with your evenings. I thought this was a great talk. I love you guys without prompting at all, reverberating pretty much everything I had been planning.
Well,
so
the reason you picked,
that's
you
helpful.
brought us on for this, right?
Yes, very much, very much. There's a reason I adore working with all three of you. Thank you so much, you guys behind on the other side of the camera here watching us. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you continue enjoying the show. Go tell people about it, and keep helping out if you can. We're gonna go. We'll see you next week for another episode of Iron, Coke, and Conscience, another after show, and another batch of mayhem. We'll see where it goes. Happy time zone, everybody. Be safe, be healthy, keep having fun, eat your heart tomatoes. We'll catch you next week.